Karyn, thank you so much for being here on the All Bets Are Off podcast. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. It's good to be here. I appreciate this.
Well, I got to say, I did not plan it this way, but today is actually the 35th anniversary of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, I thought of that right before coming on. I was like, "Oh shoot, it's actually yeah, I'm getting tagged, and I didn't realize it until I started getting tagged by all these people and marking it." So yeah, 35 years.
That is insane to me. And normally I like to be a little more linear, but I just want to start right with that since we're already talking about it. But I mean, when did you realize that the show was just so iconic? Like, when did that moment hit you? Like,
Well, it's funny for me. It took a long time for it to really land. In spite of everybody, all the people I would meet saying anything they said, um, it was still very hard to digest until I saw the thing that really drove it home is I saw Jimmy Fallon opening up some Olympic Games. So we know that this is worldwide, right? Because it's the Olympics, doing his Neil Young impersonation, singing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song as Neil Young and his impersonation, which was so like if you can discern that song and that reference through that impersonation and on a worldwide scale, I guess people know the show. It kind of hit me. I was like, whoa, I guess this show is pretty well known. So yeah.
I love that. So, before Fresh Prince, though, and I have to bring this up because this is just who I am, but we got to talk about Death Spa.
I knew you were going to say that whole prep with that lead up. I'm like, oh, this is Death Spa. I moved from New York. I'm living in Providence, Rhode Island now. And I actually did something for Death Spa recently where they had a screening and I couldn't believe the turnout. I couldn't believe the turnout.
I got to tell you, like, I love that movie. And so, and
this is more about you than about me.
In the horror, it is in the horror community. That's a really like fun movie. And Joe Bob Briggs did it on the last drive-in last year for his last season,
no
and it kind of like brought it back to life. And I just had to ask you about it. Like, did you at least have a good time making this movie?
Oh yeah, I definitely did. I mean, for me, it was a really big deal, even though I was like, oh, it's a horror film. And at the time I thought, well, everyone has one. Everyone's done, horror film. Everyone has one. And so, but for me, it was my first big role. And it wasn't that big of a role, but it was a feature film. It got me my SAG card. They call it Taft-Hartley, and you do a job that they tell SAG they need you to pay to put you in union. The job has to pay for you to be put in union, and then you become a union member. And so that's always a really big deal when you're not union. You're just getting that job that will Taft-Hartley you, will put you in the union. And so this did that. And then while it was silly, it was very a new professional atmosphere. I had to really, believe it or not, for the dance stuff. We were really rehearsing and practicing hard for the dance stuff. We really were. And I used to dance a lot at the time. And so Otis Salid, who was the choreographer who choreographed lots of things, and I would later go on to work with him on a Coca-Cola commercial, he still is. He's a big choreographer, well-respected choreographer. And he was a choreographer. And I remember at one point it was myself and another girl who were the two little buddies who have a crush on the owner of the place. And the other girl wasn't taking the dance stuff as seriously. She wasn't a dancer. And I remember Otis pulling me aside and giving me a little talking to about, it was basically like, take it seriously and give it your all, and don't fall in, without saying it, don't fall into peer pressure and do less because you're just trying to keep in tow with your friend. And it's funny. It's one of those little things, but I had to recognize that I was kind of following her lead of just being goofing off and not taking some of the dance stuff as seriously, maybe, which I quickly began to, even though, all you see me do is these really bad, like, days. I thought I was doing a good job, but it just made me take things seriously, regardless of what I was doing, and and it was fun. It was fun. I had a really good time.
Well, like I said, in the horror community, that movie's still a big deal. So I mean, it's pretty cool. It really is. But now let's talk. So again, 35 years of Fresh Prince. So we're at Death Spa. What is the
Yeah.
road to Fresh Prince of Bel Air?
Getting there. Well, it was all, you know, similar terrain there. I mean, it was that, it was commercials, it was little guest spots with one line, two lines, you know, just little tiny things. I was very fortunate that it was pretty quick when the audition for Fresh Prince came. I had done a pilot for a TV show that didn't get picked up. I had done several commercials. I mean, quite a bit. And like I said, those episodics. And I had come, you know, I had gone pretty far in auditions, call back, don't get it. You know, those things had happened. And then the Fresh Prince came and I was auditioning for the Fresh Prince sitcom and for a very dramatic film at the same time. And I went down to the wire and got Fresh Prince, and was between me and one other girl for the other thing. And I didn't get it, which was more the career path I had, you know, in my head. I want to do, you know, dramatic roles. And this character was a drug addict, and it was a very different kind of thing. And I'd run to that audition, then I'd go and be Hilary. But, you know, it was not, I have no complaints about getting the sitcom.
Well, I guess so. That brings me to my next question, which obviously, you know, Hilary Banks is just as iconic as the show itself, and you know, you're playing that role. And was it easy for you to fall into it? Like, because your comedic delivery, your timing is so perfect, and there's so many scenes that you steal the show in, and I gotta wonder like how naturally that came to you.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. I mean, the writers were pretty incredible. And they were great from the get-go. And then as the show went on and new writers came in, I think they did a really good job of taking into consideration who they were writing for and how they work. And they were getting used to the character that I was creating, because the character that was on the page when I got the show was very thin. It said she's a model type. And then it had her talking about Bruce and Demi and stuff. And it didn't have a whole lot going on. As a matter of fact, Brandon Tartikoff, who was the president of NBC at the time, when they were auditioning at the last auditions, network auditions, he turned to Andy and Susan Borowitz, who created the show, and said, I think we should get rid of the daughter character. It just seems redundant. And they said, just wait till this girl comes in. They told me this story later. I said, just wait. And I came in and I did my whole weird affectation thing that I guess nobody else was doing. And it's like, because I wasn't a model type. It was said model type, and I wasn't a model type. So it's like, okay, so I have to find how this character works for me. And she kind of thought she was a model type. In her head, she's a model type.
Right.
You know, and I grew up in Santa Monica, California, and there were kids, some went to school with the Malibu kids. So while I was from Santa Monica, there were these Malibu kids who were like, had money. So it was a mix. And I kind of mixed not how these girls necessarily were, but my idea of how some of these girls were. Because people would pull up in some pretty nice cars to school. And you're like, oh my God. So I kind of put that together with a mixture of my friend Leanne, my cousin Garland, and put them in a blender. And it just was fun. And the affectation at first seemed like over the top, like maybe it's too much, but it kept carrying me. Like it worked. And when I put the Judy Richmond, who was the amazing costumer on the show, she said that when I put the clothes on, that I became Hilary. And it was a little bit true. Once I put the clothes on, my body started to change. My whole hips kind of, like fell, and this lazy kind of attitude just started to take over a little bit. And the voice once I started with the way she spoke, it just all fell into place. And it was fun. And then it was really fun because I was raised very much the good girl, you don't have anything nice to say, you don't say anything, all kind of thing. And Hilary was the opposite.
Yeah, big time.
She said whatever, unapologetic. I want this, and oh, good God, who shot the couch? She just was like, oh, she just said it. And that was never me. So it was so fun to be able to be that person.
Well, I mean, in the same vein that we talked about the show being iconic, Hillary was an iconic character. You even did, didn't you do a scene, an episode of Blossom as Hillary? You
Yeah,
know,
I tripped in the end credits. I fell and broke my ankle and landed into their show this next half hour.
so the thing about that is like, so that tells me that now your character is obviously like taking off. You're becoming, just, so important to the show. So when did it dawn on you, like, hey, I'm an iconic character. It's not just an iconic show.
That didn't ever dawn on me. I never thought that. There
Mm,
was a period of time though in the show where they were talking about a spinoff.
mm,
And that was very exciting. I still wasn't thinking this character was iconic. It
mm,
was, we were still going. So it just felt like and it was hard for me to get past the audience that was right there.
mm,
And I had just gotten over like, okay, the show's not just that audience because now it's televised every week. I can see it on. And then as I traveled, you go to other countries or you get mail, you realize, oh, it's playing other places. People are seeing it everywhere. But that still hadn't transcended time. Like it hadn't been decades yet. And that's where the iconic part started to come was
mm.
far after when so much time would pass and people would say, it used to be my favorite show. Now it's my kid's favorite show. And then that kept happening. And, younger people were saying how much they liked the character. And I guess it didn't really become the character being iconic to me until recently when girls started doing these Hillary brunches where they were networking brunches and parties that were Hillary themed because people were recognizing things in her that I have to say I wasn't even thinking at the time
Mm.
about her. Like I said before, she's unapologetic, kind of empowered woman. She just felt like, and if you watch the show, you do actually see that she kind of takes off. Hillary does really well for someone who seems so kind of, to some people, out of it. No, she's a weather girl, talk show host. She's like got her stuff. She's got it going on. And I think later generations recognize that she wasn't trying to mute herself, be small for anybody. She said what she wanted. She announced it and she went after it. And all these things and all these women are like, she's this icon of female empowerment. And I went, oh, I'll take it. That's pretty cool. I hadn't
Yeah,
thought of it
no.
that way.
That's great. And I got to say too is, obviously I met you at Comic-Con. So,
Mhm.
when the Comic-Con started coming around and you started doing those, was there that moment of like, oh my God, like this is huge. And now you're having these interactions with your
Yeah.
your fans for the first time. That had to be a cool moment, right?
Yeah, it was. I was very cynical when I first started doing the Comic Cons because I was
Mhm.
like, oh, come on, what am I going to go and do? And, it just seems like it felt a little out of place and I didn't know what to expect. And everyone's in costume. And I showed up and immediately I started seeing how, people are big kids, but they're like passionate and excited and they have very strong reactions to like I do, the characters that they grew up with and things that meant a
Mhm.
lot to them. Like I saw Christy McNichol and Tatum O'Neal at one of the cons, and I was like, oh, I have to go up to them at some point, but not yet, not yet, not yet, And I finally was pushed over there. And as soon as I got to their table, I started saying everything everyone says to me. I started shaking and going, oh my God, I remember that. I remember that. Oh, you don't understand. This is like my whole childhood. And I don't usually act like this. And I was like doing all this stuff that everybody says to me was pouring out of my mouth because they meant so much to me growing up. They just were a part of me.
Mhm.
And it was interesting to start doing cons and recognizing when people say that, to not just keep deflecting it like, oh, that's so sweet, that's so sweet,
Mhm.
but at some point let it hit you. This was important to people, or this show helped people get through hard times. I cannot tell you how many people have been very serious with me when they have told me about the hard times that the show got them through.
Mhm.
And I recognize it now, as I go through life and hard times, you start to realize like, oh, it has the power to do that. And we were part of that. And it's an incredible honor to be somebody who's sitting here talking to you now, having this legacy of a show, I
Mhm.
never expected it. I didn't see it while we were doing it. We were having such a great time. But like I said, it's really an honor to be in this position.
That's incredible. And as somebody who, was and is a huge fan of the show myself, I mean, I can totally see how it could help people because, I mean, it's such a comfort show.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many times you've seen the episodes. And, that being said, is there a certain episode that's like your favorite?
Well, I mean, I'm not like somebody who watches the show, but I will say that when we did the show, there were some shows that were really, for me, incredibly fun to shoot. When Hilary drops out of college in the first season, Hilary drops out. Her parents don't know, and Will finds out and starts blackmailing her. And then I go to Alfonso, to my cousin, my brother Carlton, to help me, and he joins in on the blackmail. And then it all culminates in this big scene at the dinner table where I'm slapping Will in the back of the head and I'm barking like a dog. And every time one says this, or Uncle Phil lifts his glass, I have to obey these commands. And
Mhm.
it was our first year together, our first season, and we worked so well together
Mhm.
throughout. The show was well written. It was very funny. I actually had more than just a few lines of dialogue like most episodes, so of course it was meatier and more fun.
Mhm.
um and I got to see how the audience felt about me. Because when I turned to Alfonso or Carlton for help and said he's making me clean his dirty drawers or something, or he's making me clean his sneakers or something, and
Yeah.
he turns to me and says, "Will you clean mine?"
Yeah.
And the audience lost it. They just start stomping in the stands. They were so happy I was getting mine. And if you see the show, you will see us holding for the laugh because it's a long one, and they keep cutting back between Alfonso and I. And he's looking at me with that devilish grin, and I'm trying not to smile. And if you watch it, I smile, but I try to mask the smile as I can't believe you, because I couldn't help it, and they wouldn't cut out. Um, it was interesting to see how much people wanted to see her get hers, but it was so much fun. And like I said, discovering our relationship, how much fun we had tossing the ball back and forth to each
Mhm.
other, and how well we played together was just such a great experience. That was one of those episodes that really felt like that too.
I love that episode. I knew exactly the line when you said it
Oh, really?
that Carlton says. Like, I was like, "Yeah, I know that one."
Oh, you clean
Now
mine.
now, it sounds to me like the atmosphere on set was great,
Yeah.
and, I love seeing, like, bloopers from that too, because I could just see you guys having so much fun, but when it came time for the show to end, you
Mhm.
know, what was going through your head at that point in time?
Ooh, that was weird. Um, Will did the classiest thing. He pulled the cast and the crew together around Christmas time, I think, or the end of the year, like in season 5. Not the end of the season, but like because the season ended in June, so it was like mid-year maybe something. But he pulled everybody aside, cast and crew, and he had come from meeting with the producers and network, and he said, "Look, everyone, we're going to finish out the 5th season, and then we're going to do one more, and then we're done." And it was beautiful because, as painful as it was to see it coming, we had all this time. The
Mm,
crew had time to try to find other jobs, which is not easy when you're driving to work and you hear on the radio that your show is canceled, which happens all the time.
mhm.
And it gave everyone time to start making an adjustment, with jobs, mentally, everything. And I thought that was such a great move. That said, when it came time to walk off of the set,
Mhm.
in the last scene, the good girl in me prevailed. I was pissed because I was like, don't walk off. Like, just mess your lineup again. You've done it a million times. Mess up now,
Mhm.
or just stop and like tap dance. Like, do anything but walk off the set, because as soon as you walk off, it's over.
Mm.
And these little boots just kept walking off the set. And next thing you know, I was all the way off and I couldn't turn around. And it was a weird feeling. It was hard.
Wow. And then it becomes this iconic show 35 years later and people are still in love with it.
Never
And
would have suspected that.
I mean, it's still one of my personal favorites. So even sitting
Mm,
here talking to you is a real honor for me.
thank you.
Um, and I do have to ask you about another movie of yours, though. Do you know what I'm going to say?
Major Pain.
Of course, I'm going to say Major Payne. That had to be fun.
Yes. Damon's out of his mind. It's so funny because, you know, I mean, you saw the bloopers on Fresh Prince, and so you probably saw us losing it sometimes. And but usually the camera's not on you; you can manage. But Damon liked, as a stand-up, he liked to shake it up. He liked to try different things, and he wouldn't tell you when he did that. And so you're in the middle of a scene, and he does a different take entirely from what you'd done last time. And you don't want to blow it because it's so funny. So you just don't want to be the cause of that, having to be trashed. And man, was that hard. It got to the point where he turned to the grips at some point and he said, "Can you put the scrim in between the two of us? Because I don't want to look at her face." Because he can see me trying to hold it together. He can just read my eyes that were like, "Oh my God, I'm going to die." And then he would lose it. So it was really fun and so funny. So funny. I'm dying to see it again. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, he seems like such a genius to me, so it's cool to hear that from you.
Yeah, he's pretty hilarious.
As a joke, I was just going to leave this up the whole time we were talking. Nothing but that.
Yeah. Okay.
So here's something we didn't touch on yet, but where did you even discover that you wanted to be an actress?
I was really little. I think I was like 6 years old, and we had a Scholastic bookmobile, and they have those. Do you know those things?
Oh yeah,
those Scholastic bookmobiles. Okay,
mm-hmm.
So we're both dating ourselves, but so, you got your little dollar and you get to get a book or something. And I picked up a little tiny book called Small Plays for You and a Friend. Little thin book with little skits for two kids with like things you could find around the house, like a rolling pin and a ruler as props, things like this. And I was an only child, and I had a very patient mother. She was a complete saint, and she would let me run through the whole play playing both parts for her, for all the kids. And I loved it. I loved it. I loved playing parts and playing different and acting. And then I would watch child actors, and I wanted to do that. Jodie Foster. I had to see everything Jodie Foster was in. I was even in the theater watching Taxi Driver when I was much too young to be in the theater watching Taxi Driver, because I just had to see Jodie Foster.
Uh-huh.
And so I was really young when I went from I want to do that to getting into classes and workshops and taking it more and more seriously. The more I learned about it, about craft, and then moving on to reading Uta Hagen and Stanislavski and taking it very seriously. And I just kept loving it more and more, the more I learned about it. And so I was just all in there. And I was fortunate. My first agent came to an acting workshop that I was in and saw me in class. And that's how that went. I did a scene from Sybil, which, if you know Sybil, multiple personalities. It could have gone a lot of ways. The scene could have gone really badly, but it happened to go well that day when he was in the audience, and led to me having representation.
Wow. So you get your agent and your career starts rolling. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you also have producing credits, right?
Yeah.
So is that something that you set out to do, or just kind of happened?
No, just making things, I guess. I don't think of it I haven't thought of it too much. I remember I went to NYU summer film intensive after Fresh Prince was over. And I remember going, and everyone was so excited about their titles. I want on every film we would do in class together. I want executive producer. I want associate producer. I want this and this. And I was like, I'll have executive co-director of, I just like made up some big funny fake thing, because to me it didn't mean a whole lot to me. I more than anything just want to make things, and yeah, the producing that came was more out of just creating projects.
Okay. Very cool. So the next part of this interview has nothing to do with your career at all.
Okay.
This is our lightning round where I just ask you a bunch of random questions, and it's just for our listeners to just know some random facts about you.
Okay.
All right. You sound nervous.
I am. I'm terrible at these things. I get stuck immediately. I freeze, but I'll try to.
All right. It's okay if it's not, quite as fast as lightning. It's all right.
Okay. Yeah, it won't
So,
be.
first question, do you prefer Chicago or New York style pizza?
Oh, New York. Thank you very much. Thin, please.
Yep. Right answer. How about dinner or dessert?
Dinner.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla. It's such a terrible answer, but it's the truth. Can I say strawberry or something other than vanilla?
Sure,
Vanilla.
because the way that you said that was so heartbreaking that I'm going to let you be the first person to pick something
Strawberry.
else. All right. Strawberry.
Pistachio.
Pistachio. That's the answer.
Okay.
All right. Are you a fan of horror movies besides Death Spa?
Thrillers, but if the buckets of gore just don't get me.
Okay, fair enough. Now, what about have you or are you now a fan of professional wrestling?
Don't kill me. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just not familiar.
That's okay. I'm not mad. I swear. How about if you're big into music, who would you consider your favorite singer, artist, band, anything?
I tend to go old school. I mean, the people that I rotate and get excited about are like Nina Simone or Stevie Wonder or Led Zeppelin. Those are like my big ones.
Those are great ones to have.
Yeah.
All right, here's a weird one that we ask everybody, so I'm curious to see how you answer this. Let's just pretend you're superstitious and you're going through the Bermuda Triangle. Are you going to take a plane or a boat? And you have to tell me why.
Ooh, gosh, that's really... I would take a plane, but it has to be a big plane. Because somehow I feel like if I have a lot of other people with me, I have better chance than if I'm on a little tiny plane, which they scare me anyway. And in a boat, as much as I like riding a boat, being on the ocean is really nerve-wracking whenever I've done it and I suddenly go, you're in the middle of the ocean. And then I get terrified because it's like, you might as well say you're on Venus. And I'm like, what? How'd I get here? Because then you just go, there's no way. I can't see land. I can't get home quickly. A big jumbo jet somehow seems like it could conquer the Bermuda Triangle better.
That's a really good and thought out answer for it being on the spot like that. I liked it. All right. So last three questions are all kind of tied together. So do you have a favorite movie of all time?
Oh, we were just talking about this yesterday, and I'm lame with these, but I'm not going to say it's my favorite movie, and God, if it's not the most boring answer on the planet, but I could watch The Godfather 1 or 2 anytime they come on, and I could also tell you do all the lines probably, but I just don't ever tire of them.
Fair enough.
And I always find myself going, "Wow, did you see that?" Oh, the whole time too. So.
Yeah. I mean, Godfather's a perfect movie. There's no way around it.
Perfect.
Now, do you have a favorite TV show of all time?
Ooh, there have been some. Oh gosh, wait now. Oh, I'm gonna mess up, and I'm gonna miss the really best. Well, there's one that's really good that a lot of people don't know about called Mr. In Between. Which is the bomb, Australian, amazing. But I'm a big also, I'm gonna forget the ones that I really love that I've seen a million times. But I mean, Breaking Bad, I've watched twice. It's still love. And I loved Ozark, but there's another one that I'm forgetting that's along the same line because that's the stuff I love, like Department Q.
Mhm.
Um, ooh, I'm gonna get off of this thing and I'm gonna be like, I know what it is, but that's okay.
Hey, Breaking Bad and Ozark are amazing,
Yeah,
amazing. So I had a feeling Breaking Bad would come up.
yeah.
Now,
It's
how
I
about
always say The Wire too, because when The Wire, we were like nuts over The Wire back in the day. Um, so The Wire's still in there.
so I've never actually seen that, but that comes up a lot during this.
It's
So
good.
now, growing up, or even now, do you have a favorite cartoon?
Oh, I was a Looney Tunes kid for sure.
Mm.
Um, I was like back in that old corny, like, 40s, like,
Yeah, yeah.
Bugs and Daffy relationship.
Yeah, they don't exist anymore, I don't think, do they?
I don't know. You know what I saw? I mean, they changed them so
Mm.
much, and qualities about a lot of them changed. Like years ago, I saw something come on. I saw that the Pink Panther talks now.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that was a drag to see that.
Yeah,
It's like, ugh, wrong. Um,
you just need the music. Dun-dun,
yeah, yeah, and
dun-dun.
he's supposed to just like go through everything and be really cool. That's it. But that's hard. I mean, I think of those guys and I'm trying to remember who I really like. I mean, I know who I love nowadays. It's like not when I grew up, but nowadays Adventure Time.
Yeah, that's everywhere. You see it everywhere you go.
So good.
Yeah,
And Rick and Morty is incredibly funny, but these are not like typical, these aren't kids cartoons.
right. That's okay. Hey, they count. So before I get you out of here, I want to turn the table over to you. And if there's anything you'd like to talk about that we didn't get to, or anything that you'd like to promote, please do. If you have any Comic Cons or anything like that coming up, or anything at all, and plug your social media because I want people to be able to
Okay.
follow you.
Well, I just would love, thank you for that. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you for having me. I just say that these days I'm not acting so much. Um, I'm in a film called The Projectionist that my husband directed. And whenever I did a movie called Sweet Thing with him. And it's whenever he asks, he's a filmmaker. So if he asks me, I do it. But generally, I'm not acting so much these days. Um, but I am writing, and that's my big love. And so I've written a couple of middle grade novels, couple of picture books. I have which also are with my nonprofit agent organization, the Sweet Blackberry organization. And Sweet Blackberry, our mission at Sweet Blackberry is to bring these little known stories about people in history who did amazing things to
Mm.
kids. And so we do them through films. I've had people like in the films, the short films, I've had Chris Rock, Lawrence Fishburne, Alfred Woodard, Queen Latifah narrate them.
Wow.
And then I've done a couple of picture books with Little Brown has published our picture books. Like I said, I did a couple of novels for middle graders. And I have a new novel coming out in June of 2026. It's a YA thriller, not horror, but thriller, called Blue Beach, that'll be coming out. And I'm working on a couple of books for Scholastic as well right now, picture books.
Wow. And that's where everything started with you, Scholastic.
And isn't that funny? I know, how when I remembered is I was actually at an event for Scholastic. I'm also part of the Rising Voices mentorship program.
Mm.
And I was at an event and I was recalling when I first became interested in acting. And I went, it was a Scholastic. Wait a minute. And I looked at my Scholastic, my host, and I was like, wait a minute. And I went back and I looked it up, and I wasn't wrong. It was actually, that was the book. It was a Scholastic book that I got. Anyway, so it all comes around, strangely enough. My mother was a librarian. I spent, as an only child, countless hours being babysat by the library. And so my
Mm.
love of books and storytelling and characters originated long time ago, probably in the library with
Wow.
books. And so now it's for me to come around to this place where I'm telling stories in the form of writing, not as an actor so much. I guess it's not that unusual.
Wow, that's incredible. I love that full circle. And you are, such an awesome person. And you were so sweet when I met you. And I'm glad that you took the time to do this. And I know that everybody was dying to hear if you were going to do Death Spot 2. No.
I got killed off. You don't see me get when they did it. Thanks for the death
Yeah,
squawk.
yeah.
The mic. I remember the mic had to go all the way into my mouth, like when I was screaming, and
Yeah.
I blew out the mic.
Oh, wow.
I popped it. I was like, I'm sorry. You wanted me to scream.
Oh, I love it. Well, like I said, before we get you out of here, let's plug your social media and, and yeah, happy 35-year anniversary to Fresh Prince.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm at I think it's Karyn. I'm so bad at this. It's either Karyn_Parsons or something like that. I don't know. I'm on Instagram. I'm on
I'm checking.
Facebook. Yeah, I'm just the worst at this stuff still. But yeah, Instagram Karyn Parsons, and then I'm on Facebook as well, but mostly I'm on Instagram these days.
All right, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, people can check out sweetblackberry.org too. Sorry, sweetblackberry.org to see what we're up to.
I will make sure to include
Thanks.
that in the show notes everywhere that this goes out. So
I appreciate it. Thanks so much, and thank you for having me. This was fun.
anytime, maybe we'll do it again at the 40-year anniversary.
Okay.